Hey guys, it's Kat, and today I want to discuss Lady Midnight. I finished it yesterday, and I will tell you I barely slept last night because I just couldn't stop thinking about it. It was so good. Just a quick explanation, I'm dressed different because my camera cut out, so I had to redo a load of stuff. So if you notice me go back and forth, that's why. That's why. My camera's useless sometimes, I swear. I swear. Okay, so I don't have it with me right now because it's downstairs. I've lent it to my mum to read, and I am going to make sure she reads it because we're going to see Cassie on the 16th, so, you know, it'd be nice to have her know what the hell they're talking about. So, okay, so in this video there are going to be spoilers, so if you haven't already read it, which, I mean, you know, by now most people have because I was one of the last ones to read it. If you haven't already read it, I suggest you go away and read it, or if you don't plan on reading it, you can watch this review. I don't mind, I'm not bothered. But, you know, there's going to be spoilers. It follows Emma Carstairs and Julian Blackthorne, who we're introduced to in City of Heavenly Fire, and I can't really say I like them that much then, because I guess they were a lot younger, and also, you know when you read a series and you just get so connected with the characters in it, and suddenly you're reading a book in the series that are introducing new characters, and you're kind of like, how dare you invade this story, the one that I'm looking forward to because of, you know, Jason, Clary and Simon and Magnus, and then you're introduced these new characters, and as I explained to a friend, it's a bit like going to having a group of friends at a party and then some random strangers just coming up and acting like they know you. No, get lost, you don't belong here. Like I said, I really enjoyed it. I rated it 5 out of 5 stars, and you must read this. And I would say that if you haven't already, you should read TMI first. Definitely Infernal Devices as well, because there are spoilers. You don't realise how many there are until, I mean, I've read them all and I wasn't expecting. In the prologue, we see a new character, Kit, and his dad is called Johnny Rook, which is a weird name, isn't it, really? And it's interesting because I wasn't expecting to see another character come in now. I thought it was just going to be on Emma and Julian and their family. So when we meet Kit, he's being hidden by his dad because I think his dad was, you know, Johnny, he's afraid that they would take Kit away to Shadowhunter Academy because he's under 19 and they're looking for new people to become Shadowhunters because of the Dark War, and they lost a lot of people. And you got Emma and Cameron Ashdown, who got going to Johnny to find out about the killings and if he knows anything. And I don't know, Cameron Ashdown, he's mentioned a few times, but we never actually see him. Well, we do at the beginning, but it's not like we don't get to know him as much. So as far as I'm concerned, he's a non-event, really. He's just, nah. He might be in the next book, I don't know. And so then we have the whole fairy thing and Mark returning. And it's so sad because I kind of always liked Mark. Though he wasn't in City of Heavenly Fire as much, I still kind of felt a attachment, I guess, because when he got kidnapped it was like, oh my god. And then in the novellas he was in it and I just felt so bad for him. At the end of City of Heavenly Fire, again spoilers, Emma's parents are killed and everyone suspects it's by Sebastian Morgenstern, aka Jonathan. Julian's father's killed by Sebastian and he's left with all his brothers and sisters. You got Ty, Livy, Drew, Tavi, and then you have Mark and Helen, Helen got exiled to Wrangel Island with her girlfriend Aline. And if you've read the Shadowhunter Academy novellas, you'll know that Helen and Aline got married. Mark got kidnapped by the Wild Hunt. And then in Lady Midnight, the fairies, they come to LA Institute to make a deal because they have found out that there have been murders as well as Emma, and she's trying to find out who's doing it, and she thinks they're all connected to her parents' death. So that when the fairies come by and they want to make a deal, they say, you can have Mark and he can help you with the investigation, but we want you to bring us the killer that's done this and we want to punish him ourselves. we won't allow it to be done through the clave. So of course you can see it's messing with his mind, and he's trying to remember his brothers and sisters' names, and it's just like, shit, what's actually happening? And then he comes back and he doesn't want any runes on him. He thinks Julian's his dad, and it's so distressing because you want everyone to get along. You want Mark to come back into the family and sort of maybe not take over Julian's role, but to chip in a bit. Everyone gets their hopes up because the deal is that once they've done the investigation and everything's done, Mark can decide whether he wants to stay with the family or go back to Fairyland. And you're just like, oh god. Julian and Arthur, his uncle, who is, by the way, a little bit... But to be fair, he was kind of locked away in Fairyland and lost his mind over it, so I don't really feel anything for Arthur because he's not in it enough for me to really feel anything for him. Whenever he appears, I just cringe and think, oh god, no, just go back to your hole. And Julian does all this hard work. He basically runs the institute for them, and he doesn't even tell anyone he's doing it. He's actually the one that's been writing all the correspondence. He's the one that's been basically behaving like he is Arthur, and it's so sad because he's got all this weight on his shoulders and all this pressure to be like a father to his brothers and sisters, to be a Parabatai to Emma, and not let on how much he's actually suffering. And then, oh my god, and you have Kieran, and I didn't like Kieran. And then Christina's getting close to Mark and she likes him, and then she walks in to see Kieran and Mark kissing. So my comments on Goodreads, holy sugar shit, what just happened? Oh my god, OMFG, Mark, seriously, did that just happen? I am a laughing mess right now, mostly shock, mostly embarrassment for Christina. Shit. Like, it was seriously, you didn't see it coming at all. You kind of had the feeling that maybe Kieran and Mark were like, not friends as such, but you know, that they've become acquainted in Fairyland. But to find out that they were in love, oh poor Christina. You have that whole ordeal, and it turns out Mark's bisexual, which I guess I didn't see coming. You don't really get that much in books, not young adult anyway. So I was okay, fine, you know, but that doesn't mean you can see one and see another. So, you know, Mark, you gotta pick. I'm gonna go over the children. You got Tavi, who's the youngest, who's 7 in this one, whereas in City of Heavenly Fire I think it was 2. I don't know about you, but Tavi is, to me, occasionally comes out with coherent sentences and contributes, but then they're all carrying him off places. I'm like, he's 7. He probably weighs, maybe not a ton, but he's going to weigh quite a bit. And these people are only 16, 17. It's like when you get Livy, who's only 15, and she's carrying off Tavi like he's a freaking toddler. Like, no! I don't honestly believe, unless they weigh nothing, I cannot see a 15-year-old being like, able to carry a full-blown 7-year-old. And Tavi's behaviour is a little bit off. I can never tell. There's nothing wrong with acting young, I guess. It's just kind of unusual because I act young, but I have a reason. And yet, Tavi comes across as smart in some aspects, and then like, oh for God's sake, stop being so silly. So then you have Ty and Livy, who I kind of like Livy, but I'm not too sure about Ty because I mean, I realise that he's got kind of a... He's not slow as such, but I'm just saying that it's portrayed very well because you do come across these people that, you know, they're different. They don't understand the jokes or understand the same sort of things as regular people do. You know, they're different. And I appreciate how Cassie wrote that and portrayed it. And I felt sorry for Ty sometimes, but he did have his tendency to be a little bit obnoxious, I have to say. Especially the part where he basically tells Mark to take over Julian's job, like Julian wasn't doing a good enough job as it was. Like, Julian's done all this freaking hard work and no one seems to appreciate it. I mean, the kids are like, cook for me, I can't do this. So it's like, okay, fine, you can't do that, but you know, it's sort of like, seriously, you're not on your own. You have 2 15-year-olds, 1 13-year-old, 1 7-year-old. I mean, come on, you can do something. It's not that difficult. I mean, Julian's not that much older than you, and he managed to learn at 12, so, you know, deal with it. But I kind of like Livy and Drew. I mean, Drew, though, that you don't really get to see much of, so I'm hoping in the next one we'll get to see, you know, because there's so many kids in this book. There's not enough time to really cover everyone. Back to Emma. I didn't, like I said, I didn't like her in City Family Fire, but I loved her in this. Her sense of humour is just brilliant, and the way that she doesn't give a shit, she just doesn't care. She's gonna do what she wants and screw the consequences. And when her and Julian realised their attraction to each and their love, it's so intense, it's so sweet. At first it's just Julian that loves her, and she doesn't think he, and then suddenly she's just, oh, I've never feeling these things before, like what's going on? And then when Julian gets injured by the arrow and she's trying to save him in the backseat of the car, and you're like, holy shit, they're basically doing it on the backseat. There were so many moments that I was like, oh my god, and slapping my thigh with squeals, because there aren't many books where you get every other chapter and you're just shocked, like genuinely, like you didn't see that coming, and I love that. I actually think that Cassie's getting a lot better at storytelling. I mean, writing aside, like storytelling as it is, compared to City of Bones, which I love, I still reread and I still enjoy it, but as far as I remember, Lady Midnight has a lot more shocks and intense moments than what City of Bones did, and that just goes to show that, you know, you do improve as you write more. I was a bit wary about Lady Midnight at first. I think because, you know, it's all new characters and you've got to sort of get into a new family and get used to them. But right off the bat, I was just like, this is great. I'm enjoying this. Like, why did I feel so nervous about it? The thing is, they're Parabutter, but they don't actually act like it. They act like, yeah, they're in love with each other. They really love it. But Emma always seems to go off on her own to do these things without Julian, and it's like, well, come on, if you're that close, if you're that much of a Parabutter, you should just, you know, be like, okay, we'll go together, instead of doing things without him. Like when she goes off to the Convergence to look around, and then she's whipped off by the ocean, and you're like, oh shit, this ain't good. Julian actually coughs up salt water because of that. That is one intense parabatic rune, because you didn't get that with any of the others. And let's face it, remember in, was it City of Bones or City of Ashes, when Alec gets attacked by the demon and he gets poisoned? You didn't get Jace being ill at the same time at all. You didn't get any of that. You didn't have Jem and Will, like Jem being ill and Will feeling it. You didn't have any of that. So I didn't know whether it was because of their feelings towards each other, whether that was what intensified the whole feelings and stuff. When Julian goes to save her in the ocean, and then they just start kissing, and all the tension had been released and they just didn't care and they were doing it, and I was like, on the beach? Okay, but you realise that the beach is public and people can come and see you. Like we find out at the end when Malcolm says that he actually saw them all curled up together on the beach, and he was like thinking, maybe I could kill you right there and then, but he didn't. And I was like, yeah, see, when you saw the footprints walking off in the sand, you should have known you wouldn't have been alone. Oh, I rhymed. See, my comment on that was, oh my god, what just happened? They just, oh my god, but what? This is great, but they're so in trouble. Like, legit, like... I don't know if you could see that. Because, oh my god, I was slapping my thigh with silent screams of fangirl horror. Oh my god. See, love it when you're so caught in the moment and you're just like, oh my god! So, yeah, I mean, their relationship is very rocky. And at first you're like, okay, so there's a Parabutter rule that they cannot fall in love. That there is a strict rule. The Clave will strip your runes, practically kill you in the process, and basically shun you alive because they do not want anyone falling in love if they're Parabutter. And my theory was, you know, if the Parabutter, they work together, they're supposed to go do things together, and if there was ever a war or a battle with other people and they had to go and help someone else, their emotions would get in the way if they're you know, I don't know, something like that. But then it turned out to be, when Jem tells Emma, that it's actually because when they become Parabutter, they are stronger together, but if they fall in love as well and their runes get stronger, and basically it becomes like warlock magic and it can drive them mad. And I was like, well, I didn't think that one coming. And I was thinking, Jem, surely you should have guessed that if Emma was asking those questions that maybe she has a reason? Jem, you should guess. You're like 150 years old, you should know by now that if someone asked you a question like that, and more than one, like, I don't know, I love what Tessa said. Oh yeah, it's easier to make somebody not love you than to cancel your own feelings out for them. I was like, yeah, because you know that one. When Will tried doing that, he was like trying to, you know, spare Tessa's feelings or to try and make her not love him. And it's like, oh my god. So then we find out Malcolm is actually a traitor, and it's really sad because right when you introduce to Malcolm Fade, oh, is this kind of like the LA version of Magnus? It's still a little bit flamboyant, but not quite as much. I kind of liked Malcolm at first. He was a bit batty, but you know, I kind of liked him. You know, someone that was just love obsessed. I had no clue it was going to be him whatsoever. I had no clue he was the one that was the guardian. At first I thought it was maybe Diego when you see him on the roof, and then when he's behind the bar and with the arrows. Although to be fair, I kind of thought that was Alec. I know, I think it was the bow and arrow that did it. I was like, it's either the green arrow or it's Alec. I was like, I didn't know. It's when it's revealed and then Julian's thinking back different things that have happened, and then when saying about they need Blackthorn blood. I remember when Julian got injured by the arrow, and when he asked Malcolm to look at the poison that was on his jacket, Malcolm's like, you know, this is belladonna, you should have died. No, you don't get it, you should be dead. I thought, well, maybe his plan was for Julian to die so he could have his blood. I don't know, that was one of the first things that came to mind, maybe, that he planned on killing Julian. But Tavi, I mean, come on, at least get someone who could fight back, because I don't understand why Tavi can't have runes though. Is it because of his age or because he generally can't have them like Robert Lightwood couldn't at first? So the fight in the convergence place with Malcolm and the followers, oh god, that was a really gruesome scene, because you know when he brings all the followers back to life and they're practically zombies and stuff, and I'm just like, what, they have to chop off the heads of everyone? Like, ooh. That was a proper Walking Dead moment for me. I was like, oh, no, no. Malcolm really showed his colours, but when Diana turned up, I was like, oh crap. So she's the... No, wait, what? But then they all think that because she's covered, she's actually helping them. And Julian basically tells her to sod off, essentially. Maybe not in those words, but he does kind of, you know. And I feel so bad for her because she's got her secrets, yes, but so does everyone. So did Julian. Julian hid like what he was doing from everyone. He hid Arthur's illness from everyone. So to say that Diana, you know, had too many secrets and stuff, it's just like, no. That whole thing was so, oh my god, like mind-boggling that that Malcolm had pretended to be their friend for that long, and he actually despised them. And this whole thing over a girl called Annabelle Lee, or Annabelle Blackthorn, I thought, you know, you can be in love with someone and they can be, you know, be taken from them, from you, but that doesn't mean to say you go all evil and crazy and go and try and bring them back to life. Which, by the way, I don't know how he did it, but somehow she's actually alive right at the end, right at the friggin' epilogue. You're just like, oh shit. Emma tells Julian they can't be together, and it's so heartbreaking. I think because we can see both sides of you kind of wish that these characters would be able to guess that the other person's doing it for their own good. I mean, Julian can sort of guess, but why can't Julian go and research why she's doing that? Why can't she just tell him, Jem told me what happens. We cannot be together. What, you know, they should be truthful. They shouldn't be hiding anything from each other. And then she thinks that going with Marg is going to push Julian further away. Well, that's not doing any good for your Parabata rune, is it? Or I like Mark. I've got nothing against him. I kind of pictured him with Christina. You know, Christina and Mark seemed to get on quite well. She was the one that brought him out of his shell when he first arrived back and helped him, you know, come to terms with what was happening. But now Christina's with Diego, and I don't know, Diego, meh. I could see why she would forgive him, because technically it wasn't him that did anything, but if he knew that his brother was actually lying about being friends with Christina, or, you know, or using her, then surely she should have a bit more sense and know not to trust Diego so quickly, because he's the one that lied about it as well. So, I don't know. Perfect Diego is not so perfect after all. I love how Mark was like jealous. We start calling him hot gorgeous or something, and Emma's like, that is not a insult. Oh, there are a lot more steamy moments between Julian and Emma in this one. You know, when you compare it to Cassie's other books, there is a lot more. I mean, a lot more forbidden love for starters, and a lot more like, you know, there was just, oh, I don't know, it was just so much, and I have never felt so intensely about two characters for so long. If I had to pick a favourite character out of the family, it would probably be, I don't know, I can't really pick a favourite because they're all good in their own way. And in general, I like Emma. She's willing to put herself in front of, like, she's willing to get herself whipped, for God's sake. I mean, she's that whole scene was like, oh, for God's sake, somebody do it before the fairies decide, wait, we're actually going to up the punishment. You know, like, they were just, like, doing this like a tennis match. Like, who's going to take the whipping? I mean, really. And you realise that they can all heal. I mean, it's just like, just have a rune and you'll be fine. You'll be fine. It won't hurt at all. I like the fact that Emma's prepared to put herself first, in a sense, to protect others like Julian and Mark. I really, really enjoyed this book, and I can't stress enough that people that are complaining about Cassie having written other the Shadowhunter books and how she should just move on is ridiculous. If she wants to write Shadowhunters, I'm not going to stop her, and I don't think a lot of other people will either. I went on Goodreads to look at the reviews for Lady Midnight. Though it had a high score, I was horrified by the people that were slamming the whole idea of another series. It's like, if you don't like her books, fine. We get it. I respect that. You don't have to like it. But there's no real reason for you to go on to Goodreads or Amazon or wherever and bitch about her. Like, oh, she's just doing it to make money. Oh, she's just... No. Well, yeah, okay. Any author would publish a book for the money if they could. But, you know, 9 times out of 10 they do it because they actually, you know, like writing. So, I don't understand. It's ridiculous, you know? But this book, I really enjoyed it. It's definitely one of my top books of this year so far, even though, you know, we're only in April now. And Emma and Julian are, I think they're one of my top ships now. And I don't know how they're going to resolve their issues. I was kind of, there's this theory that Ty and Kit might, you know, have a relationship of some sort, and I don't know, I kind of picture Kit with Emma. I mean, that could happen, you know, if her thing with Mark falls through, she met Kit first, and I don't know, maybe it's such a tough thing to think about because there are so many theories, and I just can't think of all. I can't deal with it. It's so this book made me so happy. But frustrated as well, you know. It just made me think, why does everything have to be so complicated? When two people are in love, they should just be able to be together or not be together. Not half and half. It's just so stressful. I'm so glad I read the Shadowhunter Academy novellas though, because there were so many aspects of that in this, that especially the one about the Lost Herondale, because otherwise if you hadn't read that, you'd have been like, wait, is this supposed to be a surprise? Is this supposed to mean something? Because you don't realise, you don't know, guys, you don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna have to wrap that up because I think I've covered it all. There are so many feelings for this book. There are so many feelings, and I want to reread it. I want to reread that book, but I have a lot of other stuff to get through. But I need book 2. I mean, how long do we have to wait? Will it have to be another like 4 years before we get another one? I don't know. So anyway, if you have liked this video, I would love to know what you thought of Lady Midnight. If you read it, if you read it, what did you think about it? Did you agree on any of my points? Did you not like it even? I don't know. Please give a thumbs up and a subscribe, and I will see you again soon with another video. Bye!